Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, here to bring you this week's roundup of orchestral, operatic, and choral work live streams, what I like to call the big guns, big stage productions. We have them for you from Sao Paulo in Brazil all the way out to Tomsk in Siberia. And if you had any idea the technical craziness we just went through on the way to get here, and be live right now, well, you'd be patting me on the back. Anyway, before I go any further, let me remind you, okay, if you're watching this on Facebook, just click on the like button and we'll send you an invitation to follow us. If you're watching us on YouTube, click on subscribe. If you're watching us on any of our other 4 platforms, we appreciate it when you like us, but what we'd really like you to do is to follow and or subscribe to us on these platforms, which are X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. And now, having said all that, I'm going to make a couple little adjustments here in what you're seeing on our screen, putting up our logo and things like that. And let's start getting to what we have going on for you right this week. Because this week starts out with a couple of the kind of things that we really like here, even though I can't spend a lot of time talking about them. All right. This week there are 2 rather literary or theatrical live streams. One from Tomsk out in Siberia, and the other from Cologne, from the what you could call the Cologne Pops. The first of them. I think I have a poster from it because they have these posters that they use out in Tomsk. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. Just briefly. Now we'll give you the link to it, and it will be the link to their news page. Because the way you watch the Tomsk film is you go to their news page and you click on the box at the top of the page, which should give you the live stream. Anyway, this one is on Thursday, March 20th at 7 o'clock KRAT time, which is Siberian time, 1 o'clock European time, 8 in the morning on the East Coast, 5 in the morning on the West Coast, a lovely 11 in the evening, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And it's about, well, it's a concert about Tchaikovsky's Sleeping Beauty, very Russian, of course, and they will be playing selections from it. But the idea of the concert, though, is to talk to you about the creation of the ballet, because how the director of a Moscow theater talked both Tchaikovsky and the choreographer Marius Petipa into collaborating on it because it wasn't their idea. That ballet did not come either out of Tchaikovsky's idea or Petipa's idea, but the theater director brought the 2 of them together. Okay. Then on Friday, the next night, at 8 o'clock in the evening European time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, noon on the West Coast, the Köln Funkhausorchester, the WDR Funkhausorchester, is doing a concert called In Orpheus's Footsteps, and a very respected, established German performer, Elke Heidenreich, will be talking you through all these stories about this Greek hero, Orpheus, with music from Offenbach to Reinhard May. And so we're told that it will be a fusion of literature and music, poetic impulses, and sonic discoveries. So those are your 2 theatrical or literary events happening this week, which I'm happy to tell you about. Now, we then move into some more orchestral and operatic evenings, okay? Starting out Thursday, March 20th. Thursday, March 20th, the Helsinki Phil live streams an organ and orchestra concert with music by composer-in-residence Sami Mousa and Saint-Saëns' majestic Symphony No. 3. Organ lovers, you don't want to miss this one. Oh, I was walking down the street in Paris a few months ago. I think it was back in October, November. I spent 2-month periods there up now and then, and I just wandered into this little church in Montmartre, not the big one, Sacré-Cœur on the top of the hill, but the one down at the Place des Abbesses, which is for the working class people. And it was a concert. They were just finishing up playing Saint-Saëns Symphony No. 3, and I hadn't heard it in so long, and to hear it live was so overwhelming. So they were doing another performance of the concert. Several days later, I went to it, and I was just, it just flattened me. That's just a wonderful use of the organ, and to think that people didn't think it was such a great idea when it first came out. Anyway, this is Thursday, 7 in the evening, Eastern European time, 6 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 in the morning on the West Coast. They'll be doing a piece by Mousa called "Globe Itself Infolding" for organ and orchestra, which is based on a poem by William Blake, "The Nature of Infinity." Really cool. Then they'll do then they throw in, well, why not, a cello concerto by Shostakovich's Concerto No. 1, and then they will do Saint-Saëns' Symphony No. 3 in C minor, Opus 78 with organ, of course. The soloist there is Peter Sakari on the organ. He was a real prodigy as a young guy. Gave his first concert at the age of 13. 2017, went down to Paris to study with Olivier Latry and had his debut at Notre Dame Cathedral. 2018 had his debut at the Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg, and onward and upward from there. The cellist is Daniel Müller-Schott, who is the artist in residence with the Zurich Chamber Orchestra Festival in this year. And to give you an idea, he's doing cello concertos with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, with the Bruckner Orchestra in Linz, with the Spanish Radio TV Orchestra, with the Orchestra Nationale de France down in Milan. I mean, he's a cello concerto specialist. As for Mousa, to tell you just a little bit more about him, Mousa, he's Canadian, 40 years old, composer in residence with the Helsinki Phil, used to be the composer in residence at the Toronto Symphony. He's from Montreal and works with them very often. He lives in Berlin. He's done commissions for the Royal Concertgebouw Orchestra in the Netherlands, the London Symphony, the LA Phil, and others. And while his music is contemporary, it's musical. So you won't be shocked. Okay. So that looks like a good concert, but you have difficult choices to make here this week because already Thursday you have several other concerts going on, and frankly, I don't know how you're going to choose between them. Because also on Thursday, well, a little later in the evening, Paris Opera Play is back with another fine full-scale opera Thursday, March 20th. This time it's Pelleas and Melisande, with the young Hugh Montague Rendal as Pelleas and the accomplished Sabine Desvieilles as Melisande. And have I put up the picture of the two of them for you? Yeah, she's been around longer than he has. He's more an up-and-coming type. That's at 7:30 in the evening, European time, 2:30 on the East Coast, 11:30 in the morning on the West Coast. It's not free of charge. You got to pay Paris Opera Play €14.90, which is about $16 for it, but it's high quality and you'll never get into an opera house for that little bit. Sabine comes from Normandy, and she was sort of a fairy tale story. She studied cello first and then took up voice at the Paris Conservatory. And then shortly after graduating, she got invited to the opera festival that they have every summer down in Aix-en-Provence, actually. It's called Orange, I think. And to sing Serpenta in La Finte Giardiniera. And then she went to Lyon to do her debut as the Queen of the Night and the Magic Flute. And then her career just took off. So, Hugh Montague Rendal is a former student from the Royal College of Music, and he got his movement up and coming at the Glenberg Festival as a young artist in 2016, and then at the Salzburg Festival as a young artist, etc. And then a couple of seasons at the International Opera Studio in Zurich. So he's more up and coming though. But that will be a quality live stream opera to enjoy. It's the Paris Opera. They know how to do these things. So I think that gives you two or three great options on Thursday night. I'm not sure how you choose between them, but we have to move forward because I have to keep doing this rundown on the clock, and we move forward to Friday evening, where again there are several choices for you, although they're not all necessarily simultaneous. So maybe you can jump around between them. There are people who do that. Okay, first, Pablo Heras-Casado conducts Bruckner's Mass No. 3 in Friday, March 21st, live stream from Stuttgart with soprano Erika Baykoff and tenor Sebastian Kohlhepp, whom you have seen very recently in live streams we've told you about. That's right. If you keep track of these things and actually watch the things we're talking about, these artists are going to become familiar to you. And I haven't put the picture up yet, but here's the, first, let me give you a picture. Here is Pablo Heras-Casado. He's a real showman. And that's a picture of the SWR radio choir, which along with another choir will be doing this. So they're putting together two choirs for this mass. So they will have size, and sound for it. And then here are the two soloists, Erika Baykoff, or Baykoff. I'm not sure how that's pronounced. She's Russian-American, so I think if you pronounce it the Russian way, it's Baykoff. And if you pronounce it the American way, it's Baykoff. Anyway, both of these people have been the soloists whom you could see recently. Erika Baykoff, last Wednesday, was singing as a soloist Russian songs of love and melancholy with March Vivo. And Sebastian Kohlhepp, back in February 22nd, he was the tenor in the live stream of Mozart's cantata David Penitente. So they're both out on the circuit performing a lot, and Pablo Heras-Casado is, he's a professional guest conductor. So rather than having a post at any one place, he goes around and he conducts everybody. If I gave you the list, it would just be, what are all the symphony orchestras in the world? And that's who he works with. So that's what you have as one of your choices on Friday. And I think that both Baykoff and Kohlhepp are, from what I've seen in the live streams, they'll be doing a great job. So what do we have next for you on Friday, John? Well, next for you, what do we have? We have Maria Wazowska. Wow. That's Maria Wazowska. Okay. This will be a little later. Friday, March 24th, it's violinist and concertmaster Maria Wazowska's time to shine as she leads the Royal Northern Sinfonia through a series of Bach concertos. It's live streaming at 2020 CET, Central European Time. She's a violinist and she's a conductor, and she's she's sort of the concert master and director of this Royal Northern Sinfonia Orchestra, and they play out of a place called the Glass House International Center for Music. She is an accomplished violinist, but also doing more of this kind of conducting work too. She appears regularly at places like Wigmore Hall and all of that. So they'll be doing, to give you the selection, Sinfonia from Cantata, BWV 174, the Sinfonia from the Bach Cantata number 4, Christ lag i Todesbanden, which everybody seems to be playing these days. There are these fads that come up, and suddenly people on 3 different continents are playing Christlagen Todeswallen. Who knows why? This is a conspiracy. The Bach Violin Concerto in E minor, the Sinfonia from the Cantata Ich hatte viel Bekümmernis, etc., etc. Chaconne, a Chaconne from Partita number 2 in D minor, BWV 1004, and so on. So I think that she has an interest in particular interest in this kind of music. She's particularly good at playing it. It's a moment for her to shine, not only playing it, but leading the orchestra. If you love Bach, this is your Friday night, folks, or Friday afternoon, or late morning if you're in the United States. You got to remember that. But that's not all. All right, so there's yet a third concert this Friday evening. Because down in Brazil, they are over their summer break. The Sao Paulo Orchestra is back in full swing now, live streaming an evening of Bernstein and Gershwin with the inimitable pianist Marc-Andre Hamelin at the keyboard, Friday, March 21st at 8 o'clock Brazilian time. Once again, I'm late getting a picture up, but I'll get the picture up for you. Look, Marc-Andre Hamelin is the man. I mean, this is a Marc-Andre Hamelin concert. If you like him, and he's a terrific pianist, he plays everything. To give you an example, what is that? And several times been live streamed. If you're following us, you'll have seen this guy 3 times already in previous live streams. Back in early September, there was a free live stream when he was playing at the Chopin Institute, and then in December he was playing with the Cleveland Orchestra, playing Rhapsody in Blue and Ellington's New World of Coming. He doesn't mind playing twice in the same concert, which maybe is a new trend. I don't know. And then last Friday he was with he was playing Mozart. Well, not last Friday. Friday, November 23rd, he was playing Mozart with the same orchestra, the Sao Paulo Orchestra. So this guy is everywhere. The concert program is a piece by Norman called Revolve. Bernstein's Symphony number 2, The Age of Anxiety, which is named after a poem by W.H. Auden, and that's for orchestra and solo piano. Then they'll come back, I'm guessing after the break, they'll do Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue with, again, Marc-Andre Hamelin on the piano, and Bernstein's Symphonic Dances from West Side Story, arranged for brass by Eric Kreis. So it looks like it'll be a very lively evening, and you've got a top pianist playing the music there. You have nothing to lose, and it's free of charge besides that. Now, it's later in the day. It's at 8 o'clock Brazilian time, which is midnight in Europe, 7 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Daylight Time, and 4 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, and then 10 in the morning, Saturday morning, Australian Eastern Daylight Time. I think those times are correct, but you might want to double check them. Moving right along, because it gets confusing with people going on and off of daylight savings time and all of that. So, what do we have for you next? Now we're finally on to Saturday. Saturday, March 22nd, the Frankfurt Radio Symphony live streams another of its music discovery projects, teaming up this time with the German pop music sensations Clock Clock and a very cinematic conductor, Frank Strobel. I don't know much about Clock Clock. They tell us they had 3 hits in the last few years on the German radio charts, and they have done shows with Pink, Simply Red, and One Republic. And Frank Strobel is the artistic director of the European Film Philharmonic. So when I say he's cinematic, I mean he's cinematic. That's the kind of music he likes. It's a 2-hour concert without intermission, and I really don't know much more about it than that. But if pop music and cinematic music appeals to you, well, this is one that you'll want to tune in for. Moving right along. Also on Saturday night, but later in the evening because it's in the US, in the Eastern time zone. Yadar Bignamini teams up with not one, but two in-house soloists, violinist and concertmaster Ryan Bollinger and veteran cellist Wei Yu, I'm sorry, that's a typo. Saturday, March, I have to start that again because I have to do a correct announcement when we edit this down to 20-second blurbs. Yadar Bignamini teams up with not one, but two in-house soloists, violinist and concertmaster Ryan Bollinger and veteran cellist Wei Yu, Saturday, March 22nd, in a live stream of Strauss, Brahms, and Beethoven. And the thing you got to know about Yadar Bignamini is that he excels in working with soloists. Every time I see him working with the soloists, it just cooks. He just gets hands and gloves with them, and they're very exciting concerts. So having him work with two soloists who are from the Detroit Symphony Orchestra itself, I mean, I think it's just going to be fireworks in terms of how well they work together. They're doing Strauss's Die Fledermaus, the overture to Die Fledermaus. Then they do Brahms' double concerto for violin and cello. That's why there's two. And then they'll do Beethoven's Symphony No. 6, the Pastoral Symphony, Opus 68, which is a lovely symphony. I'm sorry, it's not Ryan Bollinger, it's Robin Bollinger. And she's the newly appointed concertmaster of the Detroit Symphony Orchestra now. She's done a guest concert mastering around. She's very well known in chamber music circles at places like the Mar World Music Festival, the Halcyon and Orcas Island festivals, and others. She has a couple multimedia performance projects going, which I think are fascinating. One is called Chiaconia, the Base of Time, and she just got she has a new one she's going to work on called Encore, Just One More, which she got a fellowship from the Dumbarton Oaks Museum in Washington. So fascinating person, and she's been a violinist. She's been in-house with the DSO for a while. Wei Yu has been the principal cello of the Detroit Symphony since 2014, but he hasn't just been with the DSO because before that, he was with the New York Phil for 7 seasons. But now he's very happy with the DSO, I understand. He's a faculty member at Northwestern University, which is also in the Midwest, and he appears as a soloist with the DSO at least once every season. He's originally Chinese and was one of these prodigies that did his first concert at like 11 years old or something. So he's a tried and true veteran. With Yadar Bignamini working with these two soloists, it's just I think it's going to cook, honestly, because of how well he works with soloists. And these are in-house people who he has, they won't just be coming in, for a day or two before. They're around, they're available to him. What do we have next for you to tell you about? Well, there is another concert coming up, but I don't think it's, I don't have all that much to tell you about. The Deutsche Radio Philharmonic in Saarbrücken, Kaiserslautern, is doing a concert called Striving for Perfection on Sunday morning at 11 in the morning European time, very unwatchable hours in the US. They'll be playing Bartók and Bruckner. But we give you the link so you can tune into it if you happen to be looking for something to listen to on Sunday. And then next, we have one more full introduction that I want to give you about one last concert out in Cincinnati. No, and I want to mention last weekend, the Cincinnati Symphony was supposed to be live streaming a classical roots concert, and they had a technical problem. So you may have tried to log on to it and not gotten it. They put up a recording a day later, but that's not the same thing. We know that, don't we? Okay, Sunday, March 23rd, the Cincinnati Pops joins with the Marcus Roberts Trio and the Modern Jazz Generation for a live stream concert on American Originals, the Harlem Renaissance, playing everything from Irving Berlin to Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Cincinnati, which will be 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast and 6 in the evening in Europe. Very watchable time. This will be, I can give you a list of some of what they're going to be playing. The Mooch by Duke Ellington, Alexander's Ragtime Band by Irving Berlin, Are You Hep to That Jive by Cab Calloway, Lonely House from Street Scene, Kurt Weill and Langston Hughes, Sophisticated Lady by Ellington, St. Louis Blues by W.C. Handy. And we're told the program is subject to change, which means that if the Marcus Roberts Trio and the Modern Jazz Generation want to do other things or add other things or subtract, they're going to go ahead and do so. And I say more power to them. I think this will be a very lively concert. And if you're looking for a lively concert to brighten your Sunday afternoon or your early Sunday evening in Europe with real American music played both by jazz bands and a full orchestra, well, this is it. The Cincinnati Pops. It's a very American thing. Okay. Now, there are a few more concerts that I really don't have time to talk to you about in detail. They're concerts that have to be paid for. We don't prioritize them, but the great thing about them is at least they're doing, some kind of marketing to build the audience. First of all, there's Stage Plus on Friday night with Yannick Nézet-Séguin, the honorary conductor of the Rotterdam Philharmonic, conducting the Rotterdam Philharmonic, doing Strauss's Four Last Songs with Angel Blue, an American soprano, doing the singing, and Bruckner's Symphony No. 3, the symphony he dedicated to Wagner. Then Sunday, March 23rd, the Berlin Phil is playing music by Weber, Wieniawski, and Schubert. And the Wieniawski is the concerto for violin and orchestra No. 1 and F sharp minor, opus 14, and the violinist is the 13-year-old Himari. Both of those concerts will cost you €9.90, which is about $11. And then finally, one last thing I'll tell you about is the La Scala Philharmonic with Daniel Gatti conducting. Will be doing music by Anton Werber, Alban Berg, and Richard Wagner. So it'll be a very sort of a Germanic evening, and that will cost you €4.90. Folks, that is all that we have for you this week. I realize it's an awful lot, and it was the best I could do to get this done in under 30 minutes, because there was at least a dozen, and to tell you anything about some of them, I had to go into more detail. So I hope you don't mind. Anyway, let me remind you again, if you've enjoyed this live stream or any portion of it, which you may subsequently see, remember, I'm sorry. If you're seeing this on Facebook, click the like button on the video. If it's on YouTube, click subscribe. And if you see us on any of our other 4 platforms, we love it if you like us, but please go ahead also and follow and or subscribe to us. Access Arts Live on X, TikTok, Instagram, or Threads. And in return, I promise you, we're giving you over 1,000 live links to live performances online this year. We're already well on the way to it. Thanks a lot for those of you who tuned in. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that one or some or any of these live streams uplifts you, inspires you, or just shows you a good time. Ciao for now. I'll be back tomorrow and the next day with the roundup of organ recitals and the roundup of chamber music for this week. There's so much going on. I'm happy.